Shout outs to FF14 this week, in particular. With
I got a really fun message asking me if we were going to talk about that.
I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot on the surface where it's like, yeah, big streamer plays FF14, and it becomes impossible to enjoy in that circumstance. But the video that we were linked with, let me get the name correct because it was pretty good, actually.
I also retweeted. I'm gonna go see if I can find it.
Yeah, it was a video by a gentleman named
there's a
Josh Strife Hayes, and it's called "Sometimes Streaming Isn't Fun," which is a little. The title it gets a little more in depth than that. That's a bit of a surface title, but the content of it is basically describing what the act of playing something for yourself versus playing it for a stream actually consists of. If you were to like Control-Alt-Delete our brains and look at the processes running, you would see
primarily audience.
Exactly, right? So he does a really great job of like taking something that I've often hand waved as LP tax and discussing it in a particularly eloquent way. It's a pretty great video. Check that out. But it brings out, but it was spawned by the stream sniping in FF14 when said big streamer was trying to play the game this week.
All I really want to say is stop behaving like children. Stop it. And the second thing is that there was a really, really like good type of anger post, which was, look at me, I'm going to go harass this guy, followed by the screenshot of your 9-day suspension, followed by, what the fuck, how did they get me banned? This is bullshit. Which is, it felt like the Overwatch cheater thing.
A little bit.
It's like, I'm going to go break the rules. What the fuck? How can... Oh my god!
Greater internet dickwad theory.
Their toxic community got me banned. It's like, no, your name was visible. Square Enix actually cracks down on that shit.
And I would even say that people that likely wouldn't be like shits see all the shits being shits and kind of think it would be funny to jump in on the shit wagon in that moment. So that, and it's just a little like, fuck it, you know? And but it still results in, like, absolute fucking unplayable chaos. You know, so that is
there were parts of that chaos that were genuinely fascinating, that showed off like parts of the way the game works that a lot of people were unaware of. Like, the game will not allow a number of people above a certain number into zones. Like, if there's a certain level of people in a zone and you try and go through the door, it goes nuh-uh.
So I caught a whiff of this madness when I played it the other day for Nier, and I do get the feeling that, like, if not for like Min and Skull and you know, those groups that kind of like were organized to do these raids and to do them, like, if not for that organization beforehand, it probably would have been just as unplayably chaotic.
If I
were to go through it on stream, like, completely.
I went through, like, I'm definitely not as big as some certain big streamers that have 100,000K in there right now. 100,000K, that's hundreds of millions. They don't have 100K in there right now. And it wasn't, my F14 streams also weren't as big as your Nier one because you were a newbie and people desperately wanted to see you. But, like, I don't know, I'd get like 800 people in there, and I would always go through a fucking process before the start of the stream.
Hold on, Woolie, don't act like you played it. Woolie, you did nothing. Okay, all right. Allow me to. Let me correct myself. If I started a new character towards the end of the stream, and then we laughed about potentially going further or not. If I were to continue that character and keep playing them forward in that way without planning from groups of people that I would have had a playing with, it would have been a similar type of experience.
You would have had
I could have explained
a
myself
chip
better. Let me do that. Let me clarify my statement. So I hope that makes more sense.
But like, I would literally always go to an out of the way location. I would server hop so that I wouldn't be on the server that people associate with me.
Okay.
And then I would start the stream. Like, I would do all my pre-stream stuff and then start the stream right there. And
how effective
even
is that?
then, somewhat. I think my absolute favorite version of that was some friends of mine who play the game were watching. And when I started the stream, a gentleman showed up on the front lawn of our house asking where I was and confused I wasn't there. And then once my camera switched to my actual location, they went, "Oh, hey, gotta go." And then like 10 seconds later, literally like creeped up into my camera frame. And it was like, come on, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
I am not saying their name because I don't want to blow them up because they're actually a huge fan and they watch our content. In fact,
but the spot.
I'll send it to you.
The spot was blown up.
Don't put it on screen this time.
Okay. Don't recognize the name.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay. He's been in your streams. Okay. But it was like, come on. Yeah, it's a whole mess. Like, gas is weird. Some gas is good. Other gas is not as good. It's all. I think the trick is that it's all within the limits of tolerance.
Mm-hmm. But
your
admittedly,
personal limit of tolerance.
Exactly, and that tolerance is not determined by, but that tolerance is preset going in when you say to yourself, as this video describes, I know I'm streaming this game right now. I know this is a different beast, and I know this is a contaminated experience. So, but let's make the best of it. You know,
right?
You go in not expecting too much, at the very least. And
it's one of the reasons that when Endwalker comes out, I've decided I'm not going to stream it. I'll stream it the first day, but the rest of it I'm not. And it's not even because of playing for the audience. It's not even that. It's because an MMO launch that first 2 weeks or 3 weeks is actually about being on Discord with all of your other MMO freak buddies and chatting about it and having a good time. And, I'll wait for you to do this and then we can do it together, yada, yada. When I was streaming it, I could only stream for so long before getting exhausted. And I ran into the situation where all my buddies had beaten it like 4 or 5 days before me. And I would go into the Discord and they had to stop talking.
Right.
And that sucks.
That does,
man.
Suck.
That makes you feel like an asshole.
And this game in particular, you guys and my other friends have talked about how the story is actually really good and worth experiencing properly, as opposed to just like a passive nonsense thing while you do your dailies and enjoy the ride, you know? So like in a case where it actually matters in that way, then yes, isolating it so that you can enjoy it properly in your own time makes a ton of more sense.
I'm calling it right now. I'm going to have a 9-day vacation at the launch of Endwalker. I'm not going to stream. Fuck off.
I get it. I did. It's funny because there's like, the mitigating effects that I attempted to, well, not attempted to, that I still use are ones where it's like I still, since I'm streaming and YouTube recording effectively at the same time, Let's Playing at the same time, I still do like try to upset the balance of 80% chat, 20% game attention by forcing it to be a, hey, by the way, just so you know, I'm not going to necessarily acknowledge you for showing up when you come in and things like that. And like, as everyone knows, even right now as we speak, it's a battle because the nature of streaming as a platform and the appeal of it is in the ability of people's attendance to be something that can be interacted with. So recording a podcast, which is not meant for interaction, while people are interacting, recording a Let's Play while people can interact, but doing it in a way that is not going to make it like jarring or unfun for people down the road, is cutting into what is naturally appealing about streaming. And like I'm going against the grain, and I'm fighting against like the thing that you're supposed to embrace when you use these mediums, you know. And I realize that it's fucking salmon going upstream on it.
It's a hard life we live. It's very difficult,
challenging, right? Yeah. I mean,
we're basically superheroes.
Listen, I'm not gonna pretend. I'm gonna be very honest. I hesitated on the retweet for a moment, because I'm like,
did you?
I did, because I did have that moment of like, what if, like, there is that moment of like, oh, boo-hoo, woe is you, internet video game person.
Yeah, this is
true.
And
I did have that moment, and then I went, but the breakdown of what is happening while you do this process is really good here. And I think legitimately, an audience member who shows up to watch these things, you're not thinking about that. We've brought it up over the years many times. Why
do you give a shit? Like,
yeah, you're just, you know, we brought it up many times over the years, but it really does just kind of like, it's like, it does underline, it's like you have a vision or a memory of going through that starting tutorial area very engaged in a very different way, you know?
Do.
It's a whole unique thing, and it makes so much sense why not only are you attached to these characters, but like you hung on to every word of every detail, and every doorway was remembered when you walked by a door that you didn't open. And when, you know, like a line of dialogue was missed, it was like, yeah, you were 100% focused, and that was the only thing at the time. But here, it's a multifaceted task. Him describing it as 80-20.
Basically superhuman.
Basically.
It's See, I get around all that boo-hoo with self-aggrandizement.
Of course.
Because you can't take it seriously. It's so stupid what I'm actually saying.
See, and Punch Mom told me to get around it with science, because, like I said, she brought those two those two things to the table. The one about repeating new tasks in front of a crowd, and like literally how your attention focus and skill goes down in a certain, whatever, it doesn't even matter at the end of the day. But it certainly does make me like feel less completely garbage and worthless when it comes to like playing on stream versus on my own time, and the difference between what my brain feels like in those moments.
I forget what I was playing, but I was playing, and it wasn't like everybody could see it, but it wasn't on stream. And people were like, "Oh wow, Pat's actually decent." I'm like, "Yeah, it's easy to be decent when your brain can actually devote itself to the fucking task."
What's really interesting too, from another angle of it, was, okay, I'm gonna address you guys in a second. Hold on. Was the part where you are introducing, let's say, not live streaming, but when we used to record offline.
Yeah.
And even though there was no live stream, no one there,
no person in the corner, no fake monitor person,
in your brain, you know that you cannot spend too long going through this area of Hade's Tower of Flame.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a Let's Play, and you do have to get a move on. You know that because you know that in 7 seconds, someone's attention span might just like turn off, you know, and or whatever the case. Not actually, but you are aware of like the timer in the corner of your head, of your brain, telling you keep it moving, you know.
Like it's a fun little thing, and this is getting real in depth to it. So I'm in a very nice air conditioned house right now. I very much appreciate the cool air. I am doing a podcast with you, my co-host of like 10 years, and a friend of 15 to 20. I don't know. And I've done 600 of these, right? Like a shit ton.
Sure.
I'm sweating. I would not say I was audible, I wouldn't say that I feel stressed, but I guess I am, because when I finish this podcast, I'm going to be drenched in sweat and I'm going to be tired.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, I remember the last time I brought up social facilitation because I heard about it in this context. I feel as if a number of folks were like, that's not what it's used for. And the answer is no, it is used for that and many other things. It's a very broad-ranging topic that covers lots of aspects because of functionality and performance of a task with new information or with people working together. There's a whole lot of aspects to this thing that are massive, and one example in particular that applies to what we do is like when you do a rehearsed task under pressure in front of people versus doing an unrehearsed task under pressure in front of people, the Olympian will perform better. The person who's never played the game before will play worse, right? This is a part of the broad definition of the multiple things. Now, it also refers to other things, and I'm sure for those of you who were aware of that, you think of those other things too, but it does include this large encompassing aspect of it. And that's a part of it that I
what
found
you're saying
fascinating.
Is that I deserve a gold medal every day.
Yes.
That's what you're saying. That's
you are a champion, and the Yerkes-Dodson law that describes the empirical relationship between pressure and performance means that you are a hero that deserves every praise heaped upon you.
I knew
constantly.
it. I just knew it.